Part of my mission is to show these younger guys, before it's too late, how they can preserve their youth and still continue to do the things they love, but they have to really want it. They have to prioritize it.
You have been way ahead of the curve when it's come to longevity and health, and really challenged a lot of the establishment on what they were teaching us.
Even from the beginning, I was always playing the long game. So many young fellas, they're only worried about building big muscles. Rarely are they thinking about what it's going to be like to be 70 or 80. And you see what happens to folks when they don't take care of themselves. It's pretty tragic.
And if you look at the typical American habits, from overeating and processed foods, or eating late, or drinking, we're literally killing ourselves.
Pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers. Some of these things we can do something about, some of the things we can't. One thing we do, we buy organic vegetables from farmers in our local area. Meat once a day. Breakfast is usually yogurt with a little bit of fruit. So you gotta get that diet together. And you gotta do some form of strenuous resistance training. Single most important thing.
Do you think we manifest the ailments that we get?
I do. We can set the stage against us. People that constantly worry and fret and are fearful, instead of trying to force things to happen, just let things unfold the way they're meant to unfold. The next thing you know, through the law of attraction, you start attracting better circumstances.
Anything you want to leave people with, thought-wise?
Realize that no one's going to help you. You got to take responsibility for yourself. Do not trust your doctor or your medical people. You got to take it into your own hands. Create a morning routine, because when the day starts right, everything else is bright.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real. You probably know that we've just recently been re-platformed on YouTube after 25 months completely in the dark. The truth is, I really need your help. What I really need you to do is click on that subscribe button right now, like this video, and maybe even leave a comment or share the link with friends. We're really fighting against an algorithm that's tried to keep us quiet for so long. And the more subscribers we have, the more people watch our content, the better guests we can bring you, the better content, and we can continue transforming lives. We've been doing this for 14 years now. I want to do this for another 14 years, but I really need your help. So click on that subscribe button, like the video, leave a comment, share this, and we're going to continue to bring you more and more great content. Thank you. This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Steve Maxwell, the fitness coach, health and longevity expert, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. You are recognized as one of the world's most effective strength and conditioning coaches, and were named one of the top 100 trainers in the United States by Men's Journal. You travel the world teaching the importance of breath work, mobility, diet, and fitness. As a young man, you wrestled competitively in both college and the U.S. Army before embracing martial arts and becoming the first North American certified to teach Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Your expertise is sought by U.S. government agencies like the DEA, Secret Service, and FBI, as well as high-profile names like Joe Rogan and B.J. Penn. In December, you turned 72 years young with your goal to make the next decades of your life the healthiest and most fulfilling yet. Steve, welcome back to London Real.
Thanks. I'll be 72 this December.
This December?
Yeah, December 3rd.
Perfect, man.
but I'm pretty damn close.
Well, you look amazing.
Thanks.
As usual. And I went through the record book, and your first appearance was 10 years ago.
Wow.
Pretty much this month.
We used to get together almost every year when I would come through London.
We've done maybe 5 or 6 episodes. And so it was like 10 years ago. Then every few years you would come through as we had all the different studios. We did one session on the mats where you were teaching some great self-defense and jiu-jitsu stuff. And then the one that went viral was our hotel workout, Steve. I mean, that was
the
crazy.
morning routine.
Yeah, we did the morning routine. And I think the one that everyone loved was when we stripped down to our boxer shorts, bathing suits, and we scrubbed our bodies with the brushes. It was pretty epic. People really liked that.
That was epic. A lot of good health information.
Tons, And
the whole point of that, Brian, was to show that even when you're traveling full time, there's no reason to neglect your health and not have a regimen of some type.
Yeah, it was amazing. You were showing people how you can do pull-ups, with a towel in the door in your hotel. I mean, all really powerful stuff. And this was all pre-lockdown. So people really used that stuff. Those videos were watched crazy. Throw away your glasses, all these other things with your eyes. I mean, look, let's be honest, Steve. You have been way ahead of the curve when it's come to, longevity and health and information. I mean, now 10 years later, a lot of people have come into the game and they've talked about these techniques. But early on, I felt like you were extremely innovative with a lot of open, thought, and really challenged a lot of the establishment on what they were teaching us, from everything. So,
well, a lot of people thought it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Some people still do, but
yeah, well, that's the way it is. Well, what do they say? First they, ignore you, then they fight you, and then they join you.
Well, here's the thing. Even from the beginning, I was always playing the long game. So many young fellas, they're only worried about building big G with muscles, how much weight can I lift? I mean, that type of thing. Rarely are they thinking about what it's going to be like to be 70 or 80. And you see what happens to folks when they don't take care of themselves. It's pretty tragic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some of your elderly relatives, if they're still alive, certainly all my relatives were pretty bad shape.
Right.
Had trouble being ambulatory, all sorts of joint problems,
Well, you see a lot of these, bodybuilders and then wrestling guys and all that. I mean, they're in wheelchairs now in their older years. They've really messed their bodies up.
Really destroyed themselves.
Yeah.
Most of the guys that I wrestled with have had some kind of hip or knee replacement surgery. This is back, I went to school 1970 through 74.
Okay.
At Westchester. I wrestled Division I NCAA. And that's pretty high level.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Very
wrestling.
high level.
Not freestyle wrestling, it's America's folk style wrestling.
Okay.
It's kind of like catch wrestling is real popular right now.
Yeah.
Well, folk style is catch wrestling without the submission.
Okay.
And it's in every high school and college all over the U.S.
That's what they teach.
That's what they teach.
Okay.
And it's all part of the school curriculum.
I wrestled 1 year in high school, my junior year.
Well, you know how tough it is.
Oh, my God.
It's a tough ass sport.
I mean, I moved schools to a really cool school, and this school had a football team and they had cheerleaders. My school before, it was just a bunch of science geeks. And I was one of the geeky kids, and the other geeky kid had done wrestling at his former school. And he said, Brian, let's join the team. And I wasn't ready for it because the first day, they had us doing hill sprints and all this stuff. And I couldn't move. And then the practices themselves were just crazy. It was like a whole nother level.
Whole different mindset.
That was like the first sport I ever did in school. And so that year I went from the skinny science geek, I literally went, and I don't think I won a single match, but I made it through the season, and I wrestled 129 up to 132. That's in pounds. So yeah, and I remember it, and it really helped me. That was a great base.
Yeah, for me too. I had the same story, almost identical. I started in 1964. I was 12 years old, I think.
Okay.
And all through junior high school, and I found I had a knack for it. It was one of the few sports I had a knack for.
Okay.
And I wasn't fast. I wasn't big and strong. I didn't have height, but I had a lot of attributes that made me good at wrestling.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed it. You know, even when I was like 12, 13 years old, I knew someday I wanted to be like a PE teacher or a coach.
Okay, you knew that early.
I already knew that
Wow,
at 12.
that's amazing. I think if I hadn't have done that wrestling, Steve, I don't think I would have found it so easy to transition to jiu-jitsu later, because I was familiar even with the close contact and all that. And so when I came to London finally in 2002, this is literally after I nearly killed myself in New York City in 2001. I was like, had an overdose. I was like totally a mess, Steve. And I moved here and my buddy said, look up jiu-jitsu. He had just started training with Renzo Gracie in New York City in 2001. And I Googled it and I went and had one session and I never looked back. And it literally changed me as a man. It gave me all my confidence back and it brought me to sobriety, everything. It changed my life forever, Steve. So.
And that story is common. I have so many people. I had the very first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in the Eastern Seaboard.
I remember that. What
It
year?
was only
80s?
Torrance, California, with
Right.
the Gracie Academy.
Yeah.
And then Maxwell on the East Coast. We called it Maxwell.
Wow.
It was like a joke.
Okay. And this is 80s?
Because my name, Maxwell.
Yeah,
so
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
Okay.
And this was 89
Okay.
and then 90.
Amazing.
Horian had just opened up his academy on Carson Street in Torrance.
Okay.
So I started, having been a former wrestler. I coached wrestling in high school for a couple of years. I was always looking for that thing to replace wrestling, by the way. I tried kickboxing and kung fu and karate and Muay Thai. It just wasn't for me.
It's not the same, is it?
The one thing I did find I really liked, there was a Russian guy up in Northeast Philly that was teaching Sambo,
Okay.
Russian Sambo, which
right.
is very close,
Right.
like a wrestling judo hybrid.
Yeah.
But it was just really hard to get to for a working man in the middle of the day.
Okay.
Even though it wasn't that far as the crow flies, driving time was like an hour in I-95 traffic,
Okay. So you never got into that. And then
Well, I would have,
Right.
but it was just too much of a time commitment. And then when the Gracies came, Parsippany, New Jersey, I took that very first seminar, and I was blown away by
and
how
this is
great it was.
before the UFC.
Before any,
And
this
that's
is like 4
crazy.
years before the UFC.
So you knew it was special before the rest of the world had any clue.
I had a good inkling that it was special,
Okay.
especially when little Hoyler Gracie wrapped me up.
And he
At
was
that
tiny
seminar.
then, right?
He was tiny, spoke almost no English, and I was a very good wrestler. I wrestled varsity. I don't know whether people realize just how tough it is to make a varsity team in Division I.
It's impossible.
There's only 80 schools.
Right.
That means you're one of 80 guys in the whole U.S. to make that spot.
At that weight division, yeah.
And I had a good record. I was 18-1 my senior year.
And the wrestling room is a place where they try to break your
They
soul.
tried to break your soul.
Your soul.
man.
Right? Guys go hunting for your soul.
My freshman year, I left in tears every day. I left the wrestling room literally in tears for getting my ass beat.
Because they beat you down.
They beat me. The upperclassmen, it was a beat down.
And
it was
then,
a grind, man.
Right. They grind you down and they break you mentally, right? They want to see what you got.
Yes and no.
They give you a little
The
bit
strong,
of love.
you know what I mean? It's like one of those things where if you survive, you're stronger for it.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Some guys don't. So I was always stubborn that way.
So you were varsity wrestling and you're thinking, I got this guy.
I got this
And he
guy.
wrapped you up?
Here's this skinny Brazilian guy.
wrapped you up and tapped
Of
you
course,
out.
I took him down and put him on the ground.
Yeah.
But it's like having a tiger with the tail. It's like, oh shit, now what I do? He's just getting started.
Right.
In my game, it's kind of over,
Right. And then he sneaks around you.
Man, he got
sinks
a
the choke
footlock,
in.
and I had no idea what the hell he had on.
Footlock. Wow.
And the Horian's warning, Steve, tap, tap. You don't understand. This is very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, I'm okay. Then I'm tapping, and my foot swelled.
Yeah.
I was icing it all night. But I came back the next day. I was happy. I was
Okay.
thrilled.
Wow.
And that was the start.
All right.
And then I had a gym that I had just opened up. This is like spring of 1990 in January. And I just put mats in the back. And I was not qualified. I didn't even have a belt. But I knew wrestling. And I thought, well, I'm going to take the things that the Gracies showed me. And I'm just going to get some of my old wrestling chums, and there was an Aikido school across the street. And, a lot of guys in my gym were interested. We just started practicing.
Did you have tapes or books that you could
I
refer
had
to?
all the instructional tapes. And then I would go out and I would spend a week, 2 weeks with Horion, come back, show and teach what I knew. Because once again, I was a health and physical education major. I know how to teach skills.
Right.
I used to teach children, young adults, skill. So once I understood what it is that I'm teaching, I was able to translate that and show the other guys. But I never, try to make out like I was a qualified instructor. We were just practicing together.
Okay.
But I got a blue belt pretty quick, within about 6 months, 6.5 months.
That's fast.
And
That's
then,
really fast.
Got it for about 1.5 years.
So let me ask you, fast forward to, we're almost in 2025. I want to ask you, what do you see when you see Abu Dhabi champs filling up an entire stadium in Vegas, and you see a guy like Gordon Ryan fighting there with all these people, no gi, high-level jiu-jitsu? What do you think of that, and what do you think of where the UFC is now, 30 years later? You knew the Gracies before they even started the UFC.
I was one of the original investors in the UFC.
That's crazy, Steve.
Horion was putting this thing together with a shoestring budget. And he was just going to all his friends.
Right.
And, it wasn't much money. My ex-wife and I had like a little account. I think it was like 10 grand or something. But, hey, that's a lot of money to me, man.
Yeah.
Just, having a new baby.
Yeah.
Had just got a house in Philly. Just opened up my own gym. So, 10 grand, that was a lot.
Wow.
And me and I think 21 other investors.
Okay.
And I was Royce's conditioning coach for his first 4 UFCs.
No way.
Yeah.
So you went out to California and...
I went out to California and worked with Royce.
No way.
Yep.
How did you condition him?
His ex-wife was one of my trainers at Maxwell.
Okay. I've had him on the show remotely, I think, during COVID. It was amazing talking to him.
Awesome.
He's a special guy.
Very special.
He's a very special guy.
He was incredible, man.
He has a crazy mindset. Maybe all the Gracies do. But
well, they have to.
But Royce is something special. When people say, "Oh, he just used the technique and he was a small guy," but there's something about Royce that's...
He was very tough-minded.
Yes, very tough.
The thing that really impressed me was how courageous he was.
Right.
I mean, imagine how frightening that must have been. He was a really young guy. I don't think he'd ever really been in fights like that, ever.
And he's staring across the cage at
and
these
here he
massive
is,
guys.
Pay-per-view TV was like a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of people watching it. That had to have been terrifying.
He's like 170 pounds, maybe?
Yeah, 178 pounds.
Okay. And
he was tall and thin and wiry. He didn't have good leverage for weightlifting or doing calisthenics, but he had that leverage strength and amazing endurance.
Okay.
Very flexible.
How did you train him?
He just wouldn't get tired.
How would you train him?
We were doing super slow, high-intensity training, like Dorian Yates kind of stuff.
Okay.
Not bodybuilding.
Okay.
But for athletic conditioning and strength.
And cardio?
He got the cardio on the mat. He would go out and run and ride his bike and things like that. But cardio is very sports specific.
Okay.
I never found that running or cycling or swimming really had much carryover value to anything other than the sport itself.
Really? So do the sport.
Yeah, do the sport. Roll rounds. You can do it like interval training. You can do those shark bait drills where
you put in a new opponent.
Yeah, you just keep putting new opponents in, fresh man drills.
Some people like maybe Danaher or George St. Pierre say things like, there is no cardio. Cardio is just you getting used to the techniques or you relaxing in those techniques.
Well,
am I even getting that right?
Yeah. Cardio is sport specific. It's endurance activity.
Okay.
Like, from doing triathlons, right? It's a grueling sport. But your running didn't really help your biking that much. You had to bike.
Yes, correct.
If anything, maybe the biking hurt your running.
Yeah.
Getting off that bike, you could probably barely, it took you a while to get into the groove of running.
Yeah, I cramped up.
And swimming helped neither.
Yeah, I would cramp up after the bike going to the run.
So that tells you that it's sport specific.
Okay.
Your heart doesn't know whether it's lifting weights, whether, you're riding a bike or swimming,
So if you're a boxer, you think just more rounds boxing.
More rounds boxing. Evander Holyfield proved that.
Okay.
He was one of the first guys not to do a lot of running and all that.
Now, running was always questionable whether that applied to boxing. This
well,
long
it
road
actually
work.
did in the old days.
Okay.
When they had no rounds.
Okay.
See, back in the day,
Right, that long
they
cardio.
sometimes would just go unlimited rounds until someone quit.
Right, 27 rounds or 100
Yeah, I
rounds.
mean,
There was 100 round
the
fights.
could last forever. Like here in
4
England, for
hours.
example, some of those old bare knuckle fights last forever. So yes, running definitely had a place in that type of training.
Okay.
That type of just being on your feet and moving for that length of time.
Okay.
But in modern boxing with rounds,
Yeah.
it's pretty worthless.
You think just do rounds.
Just do rounds.
That's it.
Now I do believe
Yeah.
it goes against the specificity of training slightly, rope skipping.
Okay.
I do believe that bouncing up and down. Now you wouldn't have to do it with a rope. You could just bounce and shadow box, and that would definitely have a place.
Okay.
But maybe a little rope jumping, it's kind of fun.
What about anaerobic cardio and sprints and those kinds of things? Can that? No, you think it just isn't going to necessarily add?
Not
okay.
really.
That's super helpful. So what do you think now? Did you make any money on that, by the way, on the UFC? Or,
no,
because it
no.
ended up being sold.
Yeah, well,
for a
I got my
discount
money
price.
back.
You did?
Horan was very honorable.
Wow.
He paid me back a little bit of interest,
Okay.
but not much.
Okay.
I didn't make money, let's put it that way, but I was happy to have been a contributor to the very first 4 events.
That's huge, Steve. You're such an OG. I already knew you were an OG, but now this is even more.
But it was a lot of fun. I was ringside,
That must
so
have been crazy.
exciting.
That
And
must
I
have
had
been-
a lot of confidence in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah.
but
But UFC 1,
I
you
was still like, oh my God, look at these guys, I know
Ken
a
Shamrock's
Hoist,
like 250 or
I
something.
know.
Or did
I
40.
mean, what an athlete. And, he looked like a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Man. Guy looked phenomenal.
Yeah. And he had
And
technique.
he knew how to fight.
Yeah. He knew how to fight. He'd fight in Pancras. I think he'd been fighting in Pancras before that.
Yeah, he wasn't like an amateur guy.
No, he
you know?
knew leg locks and stuff,
He
right?
knew a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dan Severn.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
The pay-per-view blacked out
Oh, because it went too long.
because it went too long.
Right.
And so a lot of people never saw how he finished that guy with that triangle choke.
I think I saw it later. But Severin was a wrestler, but he had skills.
The guy had mad skill.
Yeah, and big,
And plus,
too.
he's just a big, strong guy, man.
Wow.
Big, strong, powerful, about 270 against, like outweighed Hoist by I don't remember the exact weight, but it was a huge weight difference.
Huge. Severin was huge. So what do you fast forwarded to today? What do you make of the UFC first?
Yeah,
and then
you
what do you
asked
make?
me that,
Yeah, and then
I
what do you
got off on a
make?
tangent.
I want to know what you make of the competitive jiu-jitsu scene. But first, UFC.
I do not like the competitive jiu-jitsu.
Okay,
scene.
let's do UFC first, and then
Okay,
come back.
let's do UFC. It's way different than when Hoist fought. It's a different sport. The most lethal techniques of jiu-jitsu, self-defense, are completely removed. There's no up kicks, no rapid punches. You got to wear gloves, which makes it very hard for the grappler to secure holds. It's a sport, and I think the guys are tough and amazing, but it's not for everyone.
Okay.
You got to be kind of this would not be the kind of sport that a businessman would want to get into.
Right, because it's too
It's a little bit too
brutal.
rugged, too
Right,
brutal.
but it taught the world jiu-jitsu. Now the world knows jiu-jitsu.
Well, Hoist proved the efficacy of jiu-jitsu and what happens when you don't know it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm with Jocko Willink, by the way, when he talks about, like, for self-defense, I can just run away. Hey, look, I don't want to fight, man. I don't have to stand there and duke it out with somebody that's bigger, stronger, faster. And now that I'm in my 70s, everyone's bigger.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to avoid it at all costs. But man, you grab me, you're gonna have a problem.
Right, as long as it's one person. That's
Yes.
the thing. And you're not in the public and,
But there's steps to be taken even for multiple people.
Okay, all right.
Which brings up Sistema, by the way. We'll talk about
Okay,
that.
we'll come to that. So, okay, well said with UFC, but now at least everybody in the UFC has to know jiu-jitsu.
And wrestling.
Yeah.
Everyone has to know takedown.
True.
And you can even see the pure wrestlers like a Khabib.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved it. A lot of people hated it because it's boring. They called him the knee hugger. It's like, yeah.
That whole Dagestani wrestling is a whole nother level.
Whole nother level.
Why is
Those
it?
guys are
When you
so
see those
tough.
guys, I mean, are they better than the Americans?
No, not necessarily. I mean, we still have our Olympic champions too, you know.
True.
And look at, you know, the guys from Iowa.
But-
I mean, we got some tough,
Yeah.
hard-nosed wrestlers that were like me, that wrestled from the time they're little kids.
Okay. But in the
and then-
UFC, those
but
guys
not
shine.
everyone in high school, college wrestling can make the transition to the world freestyle.
Yeah.
It is a bit different.
Okay. But in the UFC, it's those Dagestanis that are usually known for their wrestling. That and Bo Nichols is doing a little bit of stuff now. He's learning striking and
See, when I did jiu-jitsu, it was like what they call vale tudo. It was like MMA.
right.
We had kicks, punches, headbutts, elbows.
And the Gracies taught all of
kicks.
that.
They taught everything, man.
Yeah, good
It
point.
wasn't like just
Grappling.
sport, you know, let's start on our knees. I mean, I really detest what's happened with a lot of these sporty schools.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying they couldn't come in and kick my ass doing sport, but man, they couldn't defend themselves either, not in a realistic kind of fight.
Right.
I'm talking about the students.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about guys that podium in world championships. They're good athletes. They'd be good no matter what they do because they're bigger, stronger, faster. But I'm talking about normal guys, blue belts, purple belts, women, kids.
Right.
You know, they're not going to be able to do what these champions do. And I think it's a real crime that they're not teaching the self-defense.
Okay.
Now, I understand a lot of guys don't want the self-defense. You got to kind of cater. But you also, as an instructor, sometimes give people what they need, not just what they want.
Right. But the Gracie Academy teaches all that in Torrance.
All of that,
They don't
man.
play around. Yeah. That's
There's
a
not
nice
too many schools around anymore. I know 2 schools here in the UK. One's in Glasgow, Scott McVeigh, Rickson Gracie black belt, fantastic school. Just did a seminar there.
Okay.
There's a guy here, I wish I knew exactly where he is, John Hagen, used to be a Royal Marine.
Okay.
The guy's really awesome. I follow him on Facebook.
Okay.
He has Hoist Gracie at his school all the time.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
I think I met him at the Gracie Academy many years ago.
my teacher, he had me doing takedowns, double legs the whole time since we started fighting.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was
it's kind of
part of
like, I specialize in ground fighting, but I don't know how to take it to the ground.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about
So
the
that's
jiu-jitsu scene.
I'm not against sport jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic, but I think people deserve to learn the whole...
Okay. What about Abu Dhabi and Gordon Ryan and these super fights that we see, which is no-gi jiu-jitsu? They do start standing, so there is a whole takedown
Yeah, I mean,
element.
some of the guys
That's
are...
become very popular.
You know, and now they're kind of... Some of the competitions are forcing takedowns and things like that. But see, I don't... It's a hybrid. It's not jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is with the gi.
Okay.
They're doing
You're classic.
submission wrestling.
Right. Okay.
And not that I'm against wrestling. I love wrestling. But call it what it is. It's not jiu-jitsu. It's submission wrestling.
What about the leg lock game? Because that's a huge element. When I learned jiu-jitsu in 2002 to 2012, there weren't that much leg locks. And then they exploded with kind of John
somewhat
Danaher at Henzo's. And now it's a huge part of the game. If you don't know that, you're going to be in a hard spot.
Some people credit Hall's Gracie for bringing leg locks to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But I believe it was Eric Paulson.
Okay.
He was one of Rickson's early students. He was doing leg locks, and a lot of the guys were training leg locks on Rickson's watch.
Okay.
And Eric Paulson was like very instrumental in bringing the leg lock game to jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I like all grappling styles. You know, even Greco, as limited as it is, has, you know, usefulness. And I've seen the resurgence of judo lately.
Okay.
Some of the judoka, like the high-level guys in Japan, whoa, they are training the whole thing like they used to do in pre-World War II judo. They had a ground game, nawaza, submissions. They had everything. I saw a videotape of pre-World War II judo in black and white. Kimura was actually on there.
I've seen
and
a couple
they called
videos.
them the gray beards of judo.
Okay.
And a lot of these guys, when they videotaped this, were in their late 70s, early 80s, and still very spry. I found it very inspirational that these old guys were still able to demonstrate and they were doing leg locks, foot locks, X guard. The one guy did an X guard.
No way.
It was like, oh my God.
Crazy.
This is like pre-World War II.
Wow.
And they had everything that we have today. So I guess there's nothing new under the sun.
I saw some recent black and white videos of Kimura and some of that stuff. I think it was on Instagram, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And obviously in UFC, Ronda Rousey and Karo Parisyan had some really good judo, and then we've seen a little Greco over the years. And I must say, if you really know your judo, it brings a nice element to the UFC. But I haven't seen many lately. So
I just saw a really cool judo versus jiu-jitsu and wrestling in Japan in an event. The only guy I really knew was Sakuraba, fought in it. The other guys were unknown to me. But the judo guys really acquitted themselves quite well, even without the gi.
Okay.
And they were able, people always say, well, you need the gi to do the judo. No, you don't, man. These guys were getting some beautiful throws, and they were just wearing rash guards and shorts.
I bet. Yeah, it's funny. I just had Bas Rutten on the show, and he just did a movie which is called The Smashing Machine, which is about Mark Kerr and those days in Pride Fighting Champions, which was really the biggest MMA event before the UFC. They had these huge shows in Japan where they had 100,000 people watching, and it was like the premier MMA organization before the UFC then took over.
I remember seeing these.
You remember watching those?
Yeah, I watched them.
Yeah, and so it was wild because they recreated all of the kind of 90s Japanese thing, and Boss was talking about that. But yeah, I went a couple times to Japan to support Murilo Bustamante of the Brazilian top team, and I watched him fight twice.
I would have loved it.
Oh, it was crazy.
Excuse me, I would have loved it.
Saitama Super Arena, I was there. It was like 30,000 people there, and it was silent. And
don't you love the Japanese people who fight there?
Just so polite. And then when they knew they were well versed in submissions. So when they see a submission, everyone goes,
Yeah, they go, oh.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then there'd be like fighting applause.
Yeah.
And you gotta love that.
It's the wildest thing. I think I was watching, I was Bustamante and another UFC fighter, I'll forget his name, but I was super excited and I yelled, I was like, come on, Murillo! And I was the only person that yelled.
Yelling.
And I felt really bad, I felt bad. So yeah, those were just beautiful days, early days when it comes to that. You mentioned Rickson. He's
moved to Verona Beach, by the way.
He has, okay. I listened to his audiobook, Breathe, that came out a few years ago. And look, I love the movie Choke. I got a copy when I started training jiu-jitsu, and I used to watch it, and that was the cult film that just blew us away.
That one, and I bet one other one.
What's that?
Vision Quest with Matthew.
Oh yeah, of course, that was the wrestling movie. Yeah.
Anyone going into any kind of grappling.
Right, that was really, it's still good.
Those are the two.
I got to rewatch that actually. And then Smashing Machine, Mark Kerr, I also watched around that time because it was a little bit about this, American wrestler who had gone to Pride. So I watched those. So I knew a lot about Rickson. I knew a lot about the Gracie story. I had talked to you, but when that book, I mean, Rickson really broke down what exactly happened and how it happened, and I was really impressed with the book and his story and, everything that he's kind of been through.
Just amazing. I wish I would have had a little bit more time with him at the Gracie Academy. I did, up through Blue Belt, even most of Purple. But at that time, that's when they all kind of went their separate ways.
What do you remember about Rickson?
I guess I'm trying to think, what's the thing that stands out most? It was just something about his demeanor. He was just so stoic and so even-keeled, and I don't know, there was always this feeling of danger around him.
Okay.
Not that he wasn't a really friendly fellow and treated all the students really great, but I just always had this feeling of, there was this energy about him.
Yeah.
I had to think about that for a second, because what was it about him?
Because he maybe has an energy of a bad dude at the end of the day. He can take care of business. Right?
He can take care of business.
Right. And
I'm sure you've seen those old challenge fights from the Gracie Academy where you fight this guy and that guy. And,
they famously would videotape them. And I think...
We even did that at my school, by the way.
Okay, challenge.
Yeah, well, I had the first school in Philly, right?
Yeah.
And the word was out about the Gracie Challenge. Do you know how that all started with Orion?
No.
He wrote an article in Playboy magazine.
Right.
And he basically said, look, we will put on the line $10,000 to anyone outside the style of jiu-jitsu that can beat us in our family art. But the way it was supposed to work was, here's our 10 grand, you bring your 10 grand, we put it all in a big pile, winner take all. But what was happening, guys would just show up and want to fight.
Where's my
They
10
didn't
grand?
have any money. So they started to accommodate them, but then it got a little ridiculous. So then they had students start to do it.
Okay.
You know.
And they would videotape it
They would
and not
video.
release the tape, right?
Exactly.
And
Well, part of the video was to protect them.
Right.
There was absolutely no question about what happened. It's on video.
Right.
B, if someone did maybe get hurt, you could see that they weren't using unreasonable violence.
Okay.
But what happened in Philly, we would have guys coming in our school wanting to say, I want a style comparison. Would say, style comparison? You mean you want to fight? Well, I want to compare my style with yours. Well, wait a second. Do you punch? Yeah. Do you kick? Yeah. Or you want to fight? So let's just get that straight. You want to fight.
But did they want to fight?
Yeah, well,
'Cause they
didn't want to say it.
Okay.
But I would put my camera up.
Okay.
And we never lost, even though
Really?
we were not. We would even tell them, look, we're not Gracie's, man. We're just students. You know, we're blue, purple belts. You know,
And they would come swinging.
they would come
They
in.
had gloves
man.
on?
No.
Just they'd come at
I
you.
wouldn't let them wear gloves.
Mouth
I
guard?
wanted to break their head.
Gum shield or what? Maybe.
I should have. You know, so I talk a little funny. I had to have these teeth replaced because I took a knee to the teeth.
When?
Well, it happened quite a while ago, but the teeth gradually disintegrated over time.
Okay.
And I had like a permanent bridge
Okay.
in,
Okay.
but that finally broke down and wore out. So I just haven't been able to replace it yet. So I have these fakies in there.
Okay.
It makes it awfully hard to talk though.
Okay. Gotcha.
So
All right.
I kind of lisp sometimes and saliva bills. It's very irritating.
So kids don't do Gracie challenge at home.
I'm telling you kids and you parents, make sure your kids have a well-fitted, proper mouthpiece, preferably from a dentist, not like just something you bought
upper and lower, or just upper?
No,
at
just
least?
the upper is good.
Yeah.
Although they do have this WPISS jaw joint protector, which is actually made in Conshohocken, PA. It locks your jaw in place so you can't get jaw injuries
Okay.
or neck injuries. It literally locks your jaw,
Okay.
and you can breathe with it.
Nice.
Ironically, because the mouth is kind of in open position with a little groove, you can actually breathe.
Okay. Yeah, I was in Dubai last week and I didn't have my mouth guard and I was training boxing and I did a few rounds without it. Probably shouldn't have, but it was okay.
Yeah, you have awfully nice teeth. You
My
don't want-
boxing's
Take it from an old guy that got his teeth busted
okay.
up. Don't
My
do it.
boxing's better than it's ever been right now.
Good
and
for you.
It's because two reasons, I think. One is I'm becoming much more relaxed in there. And the second is I was doing some breakdancing for many years and I found that the breakdancing footwork really helped my boxing a lot. That, and I'm just mentally more able to relax in there.
Do you know what I think it is?
What is it?
The relaxation.
Yeah, huge difference.
I think you're not striving so much anymore.
Huge difference.
And you don't care that much anymore.
That's weird.
When you don't care, good things happen.
Man, when I can be relaxed in a fight and I can be in the pocket and I can, man, it's just, now my creativity explodes.
Well, just like with myself, I still roll, even though I'm in my 70s. I'm careful. I don't just roll with any knucklehead.
Right.
Right now, I'm at this school run by Annabelle Lobo, fantastic, called Gracie Hilton Head. And it's actually in Bluffton, South Carolina. And I told you, he went to high school with Rickson.
Right.
Him and Pedro Sauer and Rickson all went to high school together.
Wow.
And this guy is amazing. Really good teacher. He's like 65. No air conditioning in this place, man. It's hotter than Hades during the South Carolina summers. But we get a lot of guys from Paris Island Marine Corps base and the Navy hospital. It's pretty tough young guys that come in there. So, you know, at my age now, I just don't roll with anybody. I'm very careful.
Smart.
But luckily, he has an older crowd.
Okay.
And then there's another school in Savannah I work at, Mike Sergey's place, called Sarge BJJ. I knew Mike when he was a blue belt. In fact, I refereed his very first match. In the old days, they didn't have professional referees. They just would get the upper belts to go out in the mat and referee for the tournaments in the early days of tournament jiu-jitsu. So I remember Mike from then. Now he's like a 3rd-degree black belt and got his black belt from Pejapano.
Amazing. Wow. That's incredible.
And so I teach at his school like once a week.
Okay. Gotcha. I haven't rolled in a while, but I do roll with my boys that are 7 and 8. So I try to tap them out whenever I can.
Hell yeah.
And teach them some things. And they love wrestling.
Oh, they love
and
wrestling
they love
with daddy, man.
jumping around. And they're learning martial arts from my coach. So now he's training my sons.
That's awesome, man.
It's amazing. He taught me everything about jiu-jitsu. He taught me Thai boxing and boxing. He trains me in boxing. I should have a fight coming up next year. It'll be my first boxing match. And now he's training my kids. So it's amazing.
Well, it's real interesting. I did these seminars. I have this jiu-jitsu for a lifetime. And basically it's not the holds. I mean, anyone can show holds and techniques, and there's guys way better qualified than me to show those things. But what I can show you is how you can preserve your youthfulness and still continue to do the thing you love into advanced age. That was always my goal.
Okay.
The long game. And I think it's really important for these guys to understand. Well, first of all, the first thing I do is have everyone raise their hand. How many people over 40? Might be half dozen. How many people over 45? Maybe 2 more. How many people over 50? Maybe 3 or 4. How many people over 60? Almost no one. You know, every now and again you get someone over 65. You know, but you never see late 60s, early 70s, because the guys get too busted up.
Right.
They push it too hard.
Right.
Too often, too hard, or we were talking about diet earlier. They don't eat well. You know, their general health goes down. So part of my mission is to show these guys, these younger guys, before it's too late, how they can preserve their youth and still continue to do the things they loved, but you have to modify it.
Okay. Let's talk about some of those things, because there's a guy right now who's getting kind of famous. His name is Brian Johnson, and he has this whole movement called Don't Die. And he's trying to reverse his health. I don't know if you've seen this guy out there. And, you know, he's I think the most tested guy on the planet, has done more MRIs than anybody on the planet. And he's going through all these protocols on sleep and diet and all these things. And he's trying to reverse his age. You know, he takes all the plasma out of his body and puts it back. Have you seen this guy?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I'll check him out, though.
He's an interesting dude. I think I was DMing a little bit on Instagram. And he's getting the whole movement. And he calls it Don't Die.
Is he a vegan?
I think he is.
I think I have seen this guy.
That's the one thing.
As soon as I heard that vegan stuff, that was it for me.
Yeah, I think he might be wrong on that. Sorry, Brian. I was a vegan for a year. I know you tried being a vegetarian for a couple of years, but ultimately I decided, as Charles Poliquin told me, that it wasn't really the right diet for an athlete. And so now I eat animal proteins, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, me too.
But I am learning some things from Brian. He really stopped eating late, and that really changed his sleep a lot. He started bringing his last meal earlier and earlier and earlier. I think now his last meal is at 11 a.m. He really went to the extreme. And I think some of the extreme things he does, you can learn from. And I like the fact that he's doing this, because his argument is that almost everything that people do makes them die. And if you look at the typical American habits, from overeating and processed foods, or eating late, or drinking, and all these things we do, we're literally killing ourselves, right?
Pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers, imbalanced soil, mineral imbalances within the food, the spraying that they're doing, God knows what they're doing, so-called climate change or whatever, you know. Yeah, all this stuff, I think. But some of these things we can do something about, some of the things we can't. One thing we do, we buy organic vegetables from farmers in our local area.
Okay.
We're lucky enough to be able to do that.
Okay.
So we get good quality, and we eat at least anywhere between 15 to 16 vegetables a day.
Wow.
Different ones.
Okay.
Steamed all together in a pressure cooker. You know, meat once a day.
Okay. Once a day.
Yeah. Breakfast is usually either yogurt with a little bit of fruit, or I like goat cheese with whole grain cracker.
Okay.
So I alternate those two. I also get raw milk from a guy that actually milks his own goats, and I mean, really good grass-fed, free range. You know, people are afraid of the raw milk.
But it's nice.
The process, the food processors put a big scare into people, but it's nonsense.
But you like it.
I like it. And then supper is more vegetables, maybe a little tahini or beans.
And where do you get your
Very
meat from?
simple.
Do you like getting like, elk and things like that have been?
She actually buys it from local farmers.
Okay.
There's a huge farmers market.
Okay.
That's one thing I liked about Washington State, even though it was pretty pushy with that whole vaccine nonsense.
Yeah.
You can get really good food out there also. There's a lot of local farmers, local producers. So you got to get that diet together.
To continue watching the rest of the episode for free, visit our website londonreal.tv or click the link in the description below.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Most people will never see this opportunity. Dubai luxury transformation projects have historically delivered 40 to 90% annual returns. That is incredible. These were once reserved only for insiders with access. I spent 15 years on Wall Street and I learned this: the biggest returns always go to the people who get the call first. Now, you finally can. We've just received a brand new project with major upside potential. Allocations move fast. Click the link, apply now, and speak to my team. This is your chance to see what others never will.